Hey, what's going on YouTube? Alabama Reloader here. So coming to you today, still kind of in a follow-on video in this little series that I'm doing, that I'm putting together about how to prep your rifle for hunting season, right? Whatever that looks like for you and where you live. I just kind of walking you through some of the steps that I follow, some of the processes that I go through, procedures that I do on a routine basis, right before every hunting season. Get the rifle out, go through everything with a fine-tooth comb, check, recheck, make sure everything's good to go, head to the range, make sure your gun's still sighted in. And we're about to transition into actually doing a load development. Sort of the series is going to transition into load development for this Savage 110 Trail Hunter. But before I do that, I want to see how it would shoot with some premium factory ammunition. Now I've got boxes of bullets here, and I've got 3 boxes of factory ammunition. I posted a question over on the community tab of my channel and just said, hey, what's some premium factory ammunition that you guys would recommend that I test in this 110 Trail Hunter before we get into the reloading process? Because if you'll recall, if you've watched the video series so far, I started off and shot the Federal PowerShock 180 grain factory ammo. That's sort of what I use to break in the barrel and just kind of establish some level of baseline understanding of performance and potential capability that maybe the rifle possesses, right? So from there, on the last video I mentioned that I was going to go right into hand loading for it, which I am definitely going to do. But the more and more I thought about it, I wanted to circle back and sort of gear this video towards the people that aren't going to hand load, right? There's a lot of people that don't reload. They don't care to do it. They just want to go out. They want to go buy a gun. They want to buy factory ammunition. And nowadays, with it being as good as it is, typically that's what a lot of people are just going to do. They're going to go buy premium factory ammunition and go out and shoot and hunt, and life is going to be good. And they don't have to worry about the reloading aspect of it. So this video is really geared more toward those folks. What do you mean, you people, right? But as for recommendations, and I knew, to be honest with you, I'd already purchased this before I even asked for recommendations because I knew what people were going to recommend. I knew the 178 grain ELDX was going to be toward the top of the list. I knew some flavor of the CX bullet was going to be, highly recommended. Barnes, Nosler stuff. I already knew in my mind what I believe to be premium factory ammunition, but I wanted to kind of get an opinion, right, of the group. So I picked up 3 different boxes, and these are the only 3 I'm going to buy because they love their factory ammunition, and by they I mean the people that produce it, also the people that turn around and sell it. So I'm not sinking any more money into factory ammunition. I don't buy it anyway. I just hand load. So picked up the Hornady 178 grain ELDX. This is the Hornady Precision Hunter stuff. A lot of people love the ELDX bullet. Now for me personally, I don't consider it a premium bullet. That might be a hot take. People can debate that down in the comments of this video, whether or not you believe this truly is a premium bullet for hunting applications, all right? It's completely up to you. I know some people who they use those bullets exclusively and have nothing but success with them, and that's great. That's awesome. For me, what I think of as a premium hunting bullet is more geared towards something that is either bonded or of monolithic construction. That's just my opinion, and that's the way I think. So you can debate that also down in the comments. That's what I look at when I think of premium. I think of virtually guaranteed performance. Okay, and what I mean by that is, so I'll give you an example. If you go and follow LaRue Tactical on Instagram, Mark LaRue, owner of LaRue Tactical, his Instagram page, it's funny just to follow him anyway, but go give him a follow. He puts out great stuff. One of his posts here recently, just the other day, he posted this because of it was a guy, I guess a friend of his, and his son went on a moose hunt, I believe up in Alaska, maybe somewhere. Went on a moose hunt, and they were taking the the bolt action rifle that LaRue came out with not too long ago, the Siete. Okay, so they took that with them. The son, he's like 11 or 12, something like that, I think, if I remember the post right. He was shooting the 308 Winchester. That's what he took to go moose hunting, was 308 Winchester. And he was shooting I believe it's the 178 grain version ELDX. I believe it was the Precision Hunter ammo, I think. I could be wrong, but it's the ELDX bullet, the 178 grain ELDX bullet nonetheless. And his dad was shooting a 300 Wisdom, okay? And the son put 4 shots into the moose, all through the heart. Perfect shots, by the way, which were, I mean, it's just incredible that he was able to get 4 shots. And you can go and look at the post. They show a picture of the heart of the moose with 4 distinct bullet holes in it. Very impressive shooting by that young man, because I think the shots were at like 300 yards or something. But either way, what Mark also did is he showed pictures of the 2 of the 4 shots, 2 of the 4 bullets were recovered underneath the hide of the opposing side of the moose. And he posted a picture of the 2 recovered bullets. One of them, there was complete jacket core separation. And you had the jacket laying to the side and the leg core next to it. And then the other Precision Hunter looked more like that, right? Or the other ELDX bullet looked more like that, okay? Where you didn't have jacket and leg core separation. It just looked very uniform and had the good looking mushroom and all that fun stuff. So for me, I don't put that in the realm of a premium bullet where your success or where the performance of that bullet is almost guaranteed to be the same every single time you take a shot, something like a Barnes bullet, okay? That's what I think of in terms of premium, okay? That's what I mean when I say premium, in my opinion. Bonded bullet, monolithic bullet, where the performance is virtually the same every time. Might not be the same every time, you can't say that with 100% confidence, but when I see something like that, that's a dead moose. No one can argue that. But I don't think that was the intent of this bullet design, was to provide jacket and core separation. I don't think that's the intent. That's not a premium bullet in my opinion. Now I know they package it as such and market it as such, and the Hornady, marketing mega machine that it is, people buy into that, and that's great. I haven't shot these personally at game, and there's a reason for that. So we'll leave it at that. So now the next one I went with, this is more along the lines of what I would consider probably premium ammunition. This is the 180 grain CX, which is gonna be great because I actually have 250 of those bad boys that are pulled from AmericanReloading.com. So looking around, I wanted this one, and I'm sticking in the 180 grain weight class, 178, 180 grain, just because with a 30-06, you have the ability to do so, right? That seems like a very comfortable weight for the 30-06. I know some people were recommending to go, much lighter, 150 grains, 130 grains even, that I saw some people recommend in the comment section. But again, for me, if I'm shooting a 30-06, I'm already gonna be hating life because I'm dealing with the recoil in general. So I might as well be pushing a pretty heavy pill downrange and delivering that on target, right? I understand, the thought process of going with a lighter weight bullet, something like 130 grain Barnes tip TSX, and now you're super flat trajectory because you're pumping your velocities up there. I mean, that's fine. That's a great option. But for me, and again, the distances that I'm hunting and taking shots at game animals, I wanted to stick somewhere in that 180 grain class of bullet. So I'll be testing out, let's see, I probably could have shown them as well. This is the 178 grain ELDX. This is a Precision Hunter from Hornady. So good stuff there. This is the Outfitter line, right? This is sort of more of their ruggedized, if you will, cartridge option, because let's see, on this one, now the CX, it is monolithic. You've got sealed primer and case mouth to provide watertight protection, nickel plated cases, corrosion resistant, blah, 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 blah. So there you go. And then the last factory option that I'm gonna be testing is the Norma. This is the tipped Bond Strike, 180 grain. And I went with this. There were a couple of other, what I would consider premium options. There was a Terminal Ascent that was sitting, no, they didn't have the Terminal Ascent in stock, that's right. I picked these up at Cabela's. They had the trophy bonded, the Federal trophy bonded version. I think it's 180 grain maybe. And I almost went with that, but I know a lot of people have had really, really good luck with this Norma factory ammunition. Maybe not the tip Bond Strike in particular, but just Norma factory ammunition has performed really, I've heard nothing but good things about it. So I wanted to give it a try here in the 30-06. That's what this guy looks like. So there we go. That's the factory ammunition that I will be testing today. So you guys, I know it's a really long intro just to get to the part that you care about, but just kind of hang around a little bit longer. I'm gonna head out to the range. I'm gonna get all this stuff shot. We'll come back, evaluate. Plan on doing 5-shot groups with all of this factory ammunition. And then these are the first 4 bullet choices that we're gonna roll into with our hand loads. So I will test out the ELDX. I feel like it's something I need to test just because a lot of people are gonna wanna see that bullet. And then the 180 grain CX, even though they are pulled, I think they're still gonna give pretty good performance. 175 grain LRX from Barnes, and then the 180 grain Nosler AccuBond. Now we got a little bit of an issue with this bullet. I'll talk through it later when we get over to the hand loading video series, but yeah. So you guys sit tight and I'll be right back with the range results. So you guys stay tuned. All right, guys and gals, back from the range. We're gonna go over the premium factory ammunition results. Yeah, we'll say it wasn't good. It was a disastrous range trip. All right, so first up, we're gonna go over this stuff. Hornady Precision Hunter. This again has the 178 grain ELDX bullet loaded in it. Not the biggest fan of the ELDX bullet. I already stated that previously in the video, but let's just dive right into it. I shot 4 5-shot groups. That's what I did for all of this stuff. We'll get to that in a minute also. But the first group is actually right here. These are the first 5 shots. This was my point of aim. So point of impact was high and to the left, which if you'll remember, I had already adjusted the scope up to MOA whenever I was shooting the Federal PowerShock. I adjusted the scope up to MOA just to get my final 5-shot group out of kind of the noise of everything else. And I just never adjusted the scope back down. So it was high and to the left. I made a scope adjustment down and to the right. So I came down 3, MOA right 2, and then shot this group. So this was the next 5-shot group. So again, pretty terrible. Then came up here, shot this 5-shot group, absolute garbage. And I moved over 1 more MOA. So I made another MOA to the right adjustment. So total down 3, right 3 after that one, right? And then this was the last group, 4th group, excuse me. 4th 5-shot group. Big difference between that group and the rest of these. Now, my plan, again, 4 5-shot groups for each of our 3 types of factory ammo. Now for these guys, I only shot 1 5-shot group of each of these just because I ran out of time. I was really pressed for time. I was trying my best to at least get something on paper. Hindsight 2020, I probably should have shot 2 5-shot groups with each and just kind of established some level of baseline. But I didn't do that, so whatever. And this is what these 5-shot groups look like. So this is the Norma tipped bond strike, point of aim here, hitting to the right. That's that 180 grain tipped bond strike. And then this is the Hornady CX stuff. So point of aim here, hitting to the right, 5 shots. That's 180 grain CX bullet. Now, what I will say is that part of the reason why these groups are garbage, in my opinion, is because if you are paying attention to the details of these videos, you'll know this scope has moved. Right? You see that? I did not mount this scope this way. And I did not even notice that until I was done shooting all of the Hornady Precision Hunter stuff. I finished up shooting it. I was like, man, maybe, you know, this gun, because on the first group, I was like, you know what, I cleaned the barrel, so okay, we're fouling it in, you know, getting it good and seasoned, so it should start tightening up. And then this group happened, and I was like, yeah, well, it's not great, but, you know, whatever. Then it came to this group, and I'm like, man, this thing, it just really doesn't like this particular powder bullet combination. This gun's just not digging it. And then, of course, the last group, that's 5 shots. There's 2 right here next to each other. Then you got 2 here and 1 up top. So 5 shots there. Best group of the day that we shot. And I'm like, man, I was just kind of scratching my head. That was just very odd. And the overall, like velocity numbers and things like that, they weren't terrible. SD, I think, I need to go back and double check, but the SD is in the low teens. Probably somewhere around 10, 12. So velocity numbers were pretty good. I believe the average came in, box velocity is 2750 on this stuff. I think we were like 2685 or something like that, so a little bit slower than box. But I just thought that this stuff would shoot way better than this. And I looked and I'm like, I don't think I mounted my scope this way. I'm fairly certain I wouldn't have mounted it like this in this configuration. And so I pulled up some old photos from when I took pictures of this whole setup, and sure enough, this scope has shifted. This was in the center. The turret, the erector assembly and everything, and the turrets were actually in the center of these 2 rings. That's how much this scope has shifted forward. Now, that is saying something about Leupold's eye relief, because I never noticed it. The eye relief was great. No issues whatsoever. Never noticed a change. And that's a pretty drastic change if you think about it. If you can kind of visualize where this would be more in the center, that's a pretty big shift. And so I hate it, but you know, the Hornady Precision Hunter, they kind of, yeah, they're not going to get a second chance at this one. But I do feel like this stuff would have shot way better. Maybe not way better, but definitely more along the lines of how this last group performed. And I think that one might have shot the best out of these 4. Maybe the scope had finally kind of shifted to the point where maybe it wasn't going to shift anymore. I don't know if it had like settled in, you know what I'm saying, to the rings, and where it wasn't going to shift anymore after that. And so maybe that was kind of, this is more indicative of what that stuff would actually shoot. Yeah, I don't know, but that is good. I'm taking away more of this group, right? I'm leaning more towards believing that this is really and truly what this stuff kind of shoots like. So, which is good, because again, I want to test out the 178 grain ELDX when I start to hand load for it. So that's good. It's good that it kind of likes that bullet, or at least I'm thinking it does. Now the tip bond strike and the CX, I did go ahead and tighten these back down. They did loosen up a little bit, obviously enough to allow the scope to move. And so I tightened those back down to the proper torque and shot those 2 5-shot groups with this tightened down properly. So I've got more confidence in the Norma and the CX that's probably indicative of what we would see out of those 2 boxes of factory ammunition, right? Hopefully all that made sense. But anyway, I'm gonna get this thing, I'm gonna loosen these back up. I'm I'm gonna get the scope repositioned to where I want it, and then I'm gonna tighten everything down, and I might end up having to switch rings. I don't know. Might go with a different set of rings, but yeah, there you go. Again, what a disaster of a range day. I mean, I was out there, I was really looking forward to testing this stuff out. I mean, not that I would ever go buy any more of it for this rifle, but it is good to kind of see what type of performance you can expect out of really good factory ammunition. It's just, unfortunately, I don't think we have a good data set here. Maybe that group, again, I feel like that possibly is more indicative of what it could potentially do with that ELDX bullet, but yeah, just overall slightly frustrating. So what I'll do is I'll follow this video up with another video showing the range results for these two boxes as well, and then I'll also go over the velocity results of all three in that video. So you guys stay tuned for that. Hope you've enjoyed it so far. Again, continue to follow along. See, even when things don't go the way we want them to, you can still learn something. Make sure you always check the torque on your scope rings. That's just kind of 101 type stuff, but again, I'm in Math 098, so it is what it is. All right, well, time to eat some noodleless spaghetti sauce, so with deer meat, by the way. All right, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll catch you next time. Y'all have a good one.